Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Story number 1, Waterproof Living Fire, written by Alt Phil. The galaxy was not ready to meet the humans on planet Earth. All known life, with the exception of Earthlings, all are pretty much the same, developing in that habitable zone just near the edge of a star, where solar winds meet interstellar medium, sheltering on large asteroids safely away from the dangerous and deadly bombardment of radiation and the crushing effects of gravity. Normal galactic life evolves and lives for many millions of years, if not billions. Many of the first life forms in the universe are still around and more than happy to tell you about those days, long ago in the early universe, watching stars form and fall over the eons of our lives. It had never dawned on the galaxy at large that life even could survive any closer to a star. In that regard, the galaxy was fascinated. These humans evolved, along with countless other life forms, on microscopic to unbelievably gargantuan monsters on a rocky inner planet, of all things, crushing gravity, an atmosphere that would destroy, rust, wear down, and simply end any other known life. Completely unthinkable environments for life to survive in. Their planet is covered densely in an atmosphere containing, of all things, oxygen, hydrogen, and other highly explosive elements. Their bodies actually used as oxygen to effectively burn themselves in a sort of living fire. They consume other life forms on the planet, using it as fuel, releasing burnt carbon from their own eternal fires back into the deadly atmosphere, which other non-intelligent life captures to grow and fuel its own fires, with the help of light radiation, filtering out the carbon and creating oxygen for the humans to use and burn more consumed life. It is scientifically mind-blowing cycle. They are truly walking furnaces of heat and death, constantly dying, burning alive, even underwater. In fact, many of the life forms on the planet live entirely underwater at all times. How they can keep themselves burning while underwater is mostly a mystery, but they seem to have evolved a sort of protective covering to keep their internal fires from being quenched. No other life in the galaxy has had the technology to survive such an environment, an entire giant planet that is basically still on fire, burning from the star's deadly radiation. And these avatars of flame live there, they thrive there, and they have built near magical technology and devices we couldn't even fathom just to cope with their environment. Then they invented technology to let them escape their hellish world. Giant ships, also fittingly fueled by flame, of course. The humans even wear special suits, allowing them to come visit and interact with the galaxy, to share technology and learn. We were awestruck by them. No one has even seen or interacted with a human outside of their suits, though, of course. Any environment that they can live in is completely intolerable to the rest of galactic life. Not even our best interstellar transport systems could descend into the depths of that thick, noxious atmosphere they live in. Not that any would dare risk it. Might as well try and land on the host star itself. Luckily, humans can draw no useful nutrients from normal life. Only life from a hellish world such as theirs can sustain them. Flammable life is their only possible food source. This is the top theory as to why humans haven't killed any of us. They kill just to eat, to live. They fight for fun, competition, mating rights, or just due to something they call road rage. The concept of fighting is completely foreign, I know. Competing for resources, unthinkable. Why? Perhaps the rest of us may never fully understand it, but we think they might do this because their lifespans are so short. They have little regard for the sanctity of life. It's all very fascinating to hear about from them. On their world, they have a concept tale of an evil being called a demon. It lives in fires, kills indiscriminately, and devours souls. Huge, terrifying, and powerful beings of pure, living flame. Demons. Sound like anybody you know? Well, their fables are now our reality. So we lovingly call them our demons, born of flame, rising from the darkest depths of our hellish star's gravity well. Still, these demons of Earth are welcome here with the galaxy. We have much to learn, and they are far more capable at exploration than we are. Their ships can survive environments ours could only dream of. We've never had such incredible scientific detail of astronomical objects like stars and massive planets before the demons rose from their fiery depths of that hellish planet and shared with us their knowledge. In fact, we recently heard from the demons that they found another form of life near another star, on another giant rocky planet filled with the toxic atmosphere that our demon friends thrive in. They said that it was a veritable paradise for their kind, an Eden, they called it. All of us in the galaxy are excited to meet this new, other form of life that our demon friends have found. I just hope that they don't fight or eat too many of each other. We don't know much about this new life form, other than the humans describe them as looking much like themselves, but having big, feathery wings, whatever those are. I'm sure that they'll get along just fine. The humans' last message didn't mention food or mating resource competition, so that's good. Just something about a war. Not sure what the word means, but it's been declared. Maybe it's a type of game they play together. How exciting for the galaxy! So much to learn from these two fascinating species. End of story. Story number 2. Inevitable, written by Sandtrout. They were as troublesome as they come, as persistent as prey as their ancestors were persistent as predators. They knew my name, and while some ran to my arms or graciously accepted my invitations, others fought me with their scythes or evaded me for a time in their mechanical bastions. They fought, though they knew it was a losing battle, and they staved me off for as long as they could. Eventually, their resolve would weaken. Their machines would only slow my progress, and I would find them. It was inevitable. I was inevitable. I had patience, for I had always known time as my ally, and let it progress where necessary. I had learned the human wisdom that even the best laid plans never survive contact with the enemy. Humans had made themselves my enemy, though I only sought to carry out my duty. I take no pleasure in the pain and suffering they've come to associate with me, and even if the results are messy, the circumstances of such unpleasantness were never my choice. It was much easier to take those who recognized their fate had submitted. I looked down at the broken man before me and knew that he would not submit. Even though his arms had been blasted from his anchors, his face and torso maimed by shrapnel, eyes cooked blind by the heat. His comrades came to his aid, and his blind eyes turned to me in a way that I had not seen in a long time. Though blind, he clearly knew my presence and reached to it. I can take you away from this pain. It was never my will that you should suffer. I offered him the invitation, as I did for most in his position. I knew he would reject it, but it would be impolite to force the point unnecessarily. "No, no!" he yelled, or attempted to, with punctured lungs and shattered ribs. Resigned to a struggle, I latched onto one of his spurting stumps. His companions also took him and struggled against my pull, dragging me along with them as they applied their needles and chemicals to fend me off. I was not in a rush, but I did have a job to do, and his body was far too gone to last more than a few more minutes. At last, annoyed with their fight, I embraced him fully to simply end his suffering and be done with it. But one of them had apparently located one of their electrical weapons, which forced me off of him after a few shots. I screamed in rage at the offense. This weapon of theirs would only extend his suffering. Couldn't they tell that? Finally, I took my scythe and cut open the gate to the void, even as his companions attempted to replace his missing blood and reinflate his ruined lungs. To the maimed man I said, "Though you hate me and fear me, know that this is necessary, and I will always be here." The man had apparently realized that there was no escape this time. He looked at me with a calm expression and said, "You've always been here, but we know you, and you will not always be necessary to us." I accepted the phantom hand he offered as I guided him into the void and away from the world of life, violence, and pain. Your kind have always said that, and it has never been true. We've always said it, and it has always been true, he responded. Would you create a world without death? Such cannot exist in a world with life. We could create a world for ourselves beyond life or death. With those words troubling me in ways I didn't understand, together we stepped through from life to death. End of story. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I'd just like to give a quick thanks to the T5 channel members and patrons: Alithia, Parky, Fudic Meridian117, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Angry Marine, Lord Azrakal, and White Van 420.